Hey YouTube, Rob here with another classic 64 game playthrough. This time we're looking at Nemesis, which of course is the European name given to the conversions of Konami's great arcade shooter Gradius. I thought, seeing I looked at its sort of sequely descended Salamander last time, I thought I'd actually look at its illustrious predecessor and see how that turned out on the humble little C64. You can already see, so you can see from the first difference, this now has a two-player mode. Like the original arcade game, it's not simultaneous. It's classic swap, alternate turns between lives. So that means the gameplay does flow a little differently from Salamander. You don't have the respawn when you die thing. You go back to a checkpoint, and you. Alternatively, instead of the collect individual weapons, you have the classic power bar where you collect capsules to advance that, and then you select it. Which means you have to fumble on the keyboard, and it's not fun when you're playing on a system like the C64 where there's only a single joystick fire button. So, sort of covered a little intro. The game was published by Konami themselves, which certainly interesting. I don't know if that had what effect that may have had on the quality of the game, but I'll dive in and have a play, and you can see kind of my thoughts. So, first thing to notice is that audio is limited to music or sound effects. Unlike Salamander, which crammed both in, Nemesis, I should say, you pretty much can toggle. The other thing, of course, is dealing with controls. Standard joystick, but also using the shift key when you want to select the weapon, which is definitely not what I would think would be the most logical choice on the C64. Just because even though you've got two shift keys, they're not so easy to tap. I mean, I would have gone for spacebar personally, but that's me. And so you can also see we've done the opening part of the stage where you get a chance to grab all your pickups. The only thing which is actually plays out nicely. The only thing that's sort of difference in balance is that in the original arcade game you're pretty much guaranteed a power-up capsule, not I guess you'd call it the smart bomb capsule, when you're not guaranteed one when you're always guaranteed a power-up pickup when you collect them. Here on this C64, you sometimes seem to get the screen-clearing pickup, which in that early phase of the game isn't much helpful. And so far things feel pretty solid. I mean, you've got the standard range of power-ups, the speed up, the ground firing missiles, the doubles which shoot up, the laser cannon which doesn't look as visually impressive compared to Salamander or the original, compared to the Commodore conversion of Salamander or the original arcade game. I'm playing with an auto fire option here, but thank you modern gamepads. But it still does apply. But you've got the laser, the multis or options as they're more commonly known, and the shield. The conversion feels pretty solid. There's one thing I did notice is if you destroy an enemy that spawns a pickup and you try to there we are. I did like the little death animation. The original arcade game, you just explode and then spawn. And we've got our first little bug. Where's the sound? This case feels a bit weird, so there we go. I had to actually manually toggle that, which is the M key. Toggle it once to your sound effects, toggle it again to bring the music back. That feels... Oh, that's what I get for trying to switch weapons. So you do the sound effects for a bit. They're... these standard bleeps. As you can see, I'm pretty rubbish at this, unfortunately. I didn't have it as a kid. I've only really ever played this version now, and that's game over. But I've only ever had this version as a kid, so I really like playing for the first time, recently. And to be honest, I don't know if it's just the toll of emulation, but it definitely feels a lot harder. I mean, I've also been playing a bit of the arcade version of the game, but on the Gradius collection, which is on the PlayStation Portable, which I may capture some footage of and show at a later stage. But I don't know, I found like I was able to get further on that. This I find I'm finding it a lot harder. It's a little out of proportion. I mean, I feel the Vic Viper is a little larger than it should be for the sake of gameplay. But dive in and see how I go this time. I mean, that being said, for what is a 1986 release, it still is a fairly solid conversion. I feel it could have been better, and I feel not having played this back in the day, I'm definitely not as attached to it. I guess it's the aftermath where the game was written for a single load, whereas Salamander had level loads, so that means they had more room for the graphics and music. Here, it's all contained in memory at once, and I think that compromises the game somewhat. I mean, so all in all, I think it's an average conversion. I think it's a little too tough for its own good, and whilst the arcade game, the original arcade game is tough, this conversion still, it feels as challenging, but it feels amplified by some of the limitations. I mean, you see power-ups sort of glitch a bit, and for instance, I cleared that wave of enemies, and the power-up didn't appear immediately. And things like that make the game just that little harder. You have to think a bit more. So all in all, it's an average conversion. I wish it could have been better, but I think time limitations, all of that come to mind. So that's C64 Nemesis. I do believe in the US it got released as Gradius, but I'm playing a European version for obvious reasons. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and check some of the other pieces I do. This is Rob signing out.